Checking in here, the Not So Real Estate podcast, baby. My name is Blake, and I am here with
Reese and
Lewis.
Nice. Anyone that watched episode 1 will know Lewis is referred to Caballero. Caba.
That's right.
All right. Now, something fun. Speaking of, alter egos, maybe some secondary names. We were talking before we got on camera here. We have Lupe.
Rip.
Tell me, who is Lupe?
Lupe is... I don't even know how to describe who Lupe is.
Okay.
He just comes out sometimes, Comes out to play.
That's weird.
Yeah, when I'm feeling crazy.
Whoa.
It's just what happens. I don't know.
All right.
I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah, no, I think everyone's going to be able to see how difficult that was. It's funny because, I get to hang out with you boys quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I refer to your kind of kooky, delirious self, which we all get to. We're tired. And when we film this, we film it on Friday later afternoons, I think on purpose. We all kind of let,
a little loose.
Yeah, letting loose. Got typically a long week of wins and losses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is, we haven't announced it yet, but this topic today, it's all about momentum, baby. Momentum.
Am I supposed to say it now?
Yes.
Momentum.
All right. Last part was unnecessary. Thank you, Lupe.
You're welcome.
So the joke, what I was getting to, is that I refer to Reese as Lupe, but he doesn't know. I call Luis Lewis or Caballero, as you guys know. So when his side comes out, I just call him Luis.
Michael.
I actually didn't know that until today.
Michael did say, Michael is our friend. He's a realtor on the Central Coast.
Yep.
He's an awesome dude.
He's an awesome guy. He referred to him as Lulu.
Ooh,
that's right.
I like that, dude.
That's pretty. Lupe and Lulu.
Ooh, I like Lupe and Lulu.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily have a name, but you can.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
It has to come up naturally, though.
To be honest, I wanted to jump to our line because we're gonna do our rap lines.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But it would involve me taking your line. But I think what they say about me, it's last name ever.
Gosh dang it, dude. You can't take that from me, bro.
First name greatest.
You don't even know the second line to it.
Like a sprained ankle, boy.
He does.
I ain't nothing to play with.
Nice.
Gonna have to figure it out now, Reese. Sorry.
Now I don't have anything to say.
Well,
Frickin' A.
Lupe will fill in the gaps, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right. Well, I just had to take that opportunity to do that. Momentum. What is it? Why is it important?
I don't know. What did Einstein say about it?
I don't know. What
Didn't
did
he come
say?
up with something about momentum?
I'm not sure, but maybe some of our viewers do. They could reply and help us out here.
I don't know.
I do know on the subject of Einstein, and I can see tangents are going to be a fun part of this episode today, is that a lot of the things that we see online with a picture of Einstein or has Einstein at the bottom is not actually from Einstein.
But it looks cool.
But it looks cool.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he gets credit for it. According to the Oxford Language Dictionary, momentum is the quantity of motion of a moving body measured as a product of its mass and velocity.
Okay. Is there a secondary definition?
Let me look at the. Let's look at the.
All right.
I don't know.
Well,
I'll
while
figure it
Reese is looking it up, what do we got?
Well, Reese is looking up what is momentum. I like to talk about why it's important.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
oh, go ahead, Reese.
All right, this is a better
Wow.
one. You got to raise the hand. Be respectful.
Yeah.
Strength or force gained by motion or by a series of events.
Series of events. I really like that. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. What do we got, Lulu?
Well, what I was gonna say is just through the experience that we've had lately in the last 60 days. As you guys know, we have been doing some projects out in Paso Robles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just seems like every week, because I think it's safe to say that we don't tackle like month to month. It's every week by week, right?
Day by day, week by week at the very longest.
Yeah.
It has felt, one, momentum is extremely important because it has made us grow, and it's the driving factor to where we're at right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
And once you have it, you don't want to lose it, right?
Yeah, you don't want to lose it.
So one thing I've found in momentum is momentum gives confidence.
Yep.
It's funny how that works, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we did anything different
Yeah.
in the last 60 days that we didn't do previously.
Right.
I mean, we have tweaks, and of course we get better at things, and the pipeline grows and follow-up increases and all that. But in general, we didn't really change the play. Results just started happening.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why I'm not all that surprised why the majority of people in real estate or any entrepreneurial adventure, they fade off
Yeah.
because they never got the opportunity to pick up momentum. And truth be told, they probably never even gave themselves a true chance.
I think of a snowball
Yeah.
going down a hill. It starts very small, right?
Right.
And then as it goes, it collects snow. But sometimes you like hit a rock or something, or like a deer running, a gazelle, like, phew. And then you don't.
I like that one.
You don't. Yeah, like it. Yeah, me too. And then it doesn't get any bigger. So I feel like sometimes people might hit a rock, and they never get off the rock.
Well, the problem with the rocks in this business is sometimes it makes us pivot from what we know we need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And momentum, isn't it funny how when you land a deal or two deals, all of a sudden you're on top of the world?
Yeah.
But 2 weeks before, you were literally the most depressed you'd ever
Yeah.
been. And then it's like you get a little momentum and you catch something else, and now your confidence changes, your swagger changes a little bit. Now you're having conversations with confidence, and it's increasing your conversion. It's increasing the quality and the depth of your conversation because you're not so scared because you don't have anything going on.
Right.
That you avoid that surface level stuff and you start going deep, and then more results happen. And I think we're getting to experience some of the fruits of that.
Yeah.
On at least the acquisition side of our business right now. And then we're seeing it by default actually translate over to retail as well. So
And it only takes a couple things to happen for you to actually, because I think you hit a good point, and walking in confidence is very huge because
Yep.
I just like remember when we got our first two deals, when we got Sally and I think Shannon Hill a couple weeks later, like we were able to have conversations with people in confidence of like, hey, we are able to close or whatever, like that kind of stuff. And that keeps the momentum moving forward because we have that under our belt. But some people might not take that opportunity to. And it's not like we're boasting. We're just, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Does that make sense?
Dude, it totally makes sense. And I know Lewis can attest to that as well. I mean, we've had stuff going, and I would say we've lost it before. We've had it.
Oh yeah,
lost it.
I think multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I kind of want to. I think it'd be cool to talk about how for the viewers out there, how does momentum start? What do we have to do to get momentum?
It's a good question. Reese, do you have anything to say before I hop on?
Showing up, I think, is the biggest. That's the first thing, and there's a lot more that showing up causes other than momentum. But
Correct.
you can't be sitting on your couch and momentum start because you're not moving anywhere. So like I think the most important thing is being able to show up, and then once you're there, maximizing on what you're doing. Because if you don't, I don't know. I don't want to say by chance, but like in order to get that confidence, you have to show up and make sure things are happening and taking action. Does that make sense?
Totally.
That makes a lot of sense.
And then once you have that, then anyway.
Yeah.
I think the original question was, how do you get momentum?
Yeah, like how do you build that momentum?
So I think that's what everyone wants to know. And I don't know if people are going to like my answer or not, but this is my answer to multiple things outside of just momentum. But momentum is typically predetermined by your mindset and by your actionable work.
Yeah, I really like that.
So I would say momentum equals mindset plus work. I don't even think momentum is possible without the first two.
Right.
And if I was to go even back to mindset, your mindset is always going to be the determinant or the ingredient that's going to tell the story of what the future looks like. Right. I think a line that I shared with you guys is you have to operate in a 7-figure mind before you earn 7 figures. You have to operate, if I was to go down sliding scale, 6-figure mind before you make 6 figures. So, and then I'll go up to the one that I want to be at. I want to operate at a 8 or 9-figure mindset. My ultimate goal is I want to be a 10. 10's the fun one, right? And it's just, double digits are fun. But if I want to be a 10-figure earner, I have to operate in 11-figure mindset.
Yeah.
And so it's this constant cast, and then you build into it. Momentum builds, right?
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh man, this is only going to get me to here. I need to grow again.
Yeah.
And so now you have to readjust your mind, readjust your vocabulary, readjust your actions, readjust. Are we maxing out our momentum with even just, myself, or if people are listening and they're working by themselves, like at some point you will have to gain your jump in your mindset is going to have to involve including others.
Yep.
You don't have to. You could work hard and work your knuckles to the bone your whole life.
Yeah.
But at some point, you've hit a ceiling and you've decided that I'm okay there. I'm okay with this ceiling. And there's nothing wrong with that. I want to be very, very, very clear. Nothing wrong with it. At the same time, there's also nothing wrong with the person that says, I'm not going to stop.
Right.
I'm not going to stop challenging myself. It's cool that I got a 7 or 8 figure mind, but dang it, I want a 9 or 10. If I'm operating in a 9-figure or a 10-figure mindset, you know how many people and families I'm able to bless?
Yeah.
You know how many character developments I get to be a part of in that process? So at some point, probably between the 5 and the 6-figure mindset mark, I had to realize that everything good that I wanted to achieve couldn't be done without the help of good other people.
Yeah.
Hence the birth of the Shawn team. So I think summarizing that, momentum can't be achieved without proper mindset coaching and training, and then the proper work, actual work ethic, and the work to showing up.
I really agree with that, and thanks for sharing that, dude, because I think mindset is number one. Like, if you don't have the mindset to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve in any industry, whatever you're doing, whether it be coloring a book.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have the mindset to do that, if you're not determined, you're probably not going to get it done.
Yeah. Yep.
And one of the biggest things that I want to kind of add on to what you were talking about is I do believe, like in our industry in real estate, no one can do it by themselves.
Yeah.
If they say they did it by themselves, they're probably not telling you something.
Yep.
I do believe that surrounding yourself with a team that is pushing you and just helping you achieve whatever it is that you need to achieve, I think that is extremely important, surrounding yourself with the right type of people.
And even people that just bear with you.
Yeah.
I am a problem solver by nature. My wife's got a problem, I want to fix it.
Yeah.
However, what marriage has taught me, your wife don't always want you to fix their problems. They just want you to hear about it.
Yeah.
That's it. And, you know, I say it funnily, but like, I have grown so much by learning that other people's problems aren't necessarily just a task for me to finish or solve or fix. But I can come up by whoever, wherever, and not be able to give them the answer and still be able to listen to them, to just hear them and then sit with them in it.
Yeah.
And the only reason, I mean, in addition to my wife and just learning leadership and relationships at deeper levels, I mean, I go to the Word, man. Jesus taught me the best ways to go about stuff. God of the universe had the opportunity to raise Lazarus, take him from the dead right then and there, but instead he chose to weep. He wept because he felt the pain. He felt all of the bad, earthly, human things that everyone else was feeling around him. And instead of just fixing the problem right there, he just sat and wept with them. And I think we, I think love, for one, is a verb, but love done properly doesn't always have the answers. And, but love does ask the right questions. Love sits with people where they are. Love is patient.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go through all the 1 Corinthians things, but I wanted to do a little slight derivative of that. But if the God of the universe has time to sit with someone in their feels, surely I do too as a leader.
Yeah.
And if I don't have time for that, then I need to reprioritize or take a look at if what I want is what I truly want, or what I say I want is what I truly want. Because don't get me wrong, I'm busy.
Yeah.
I have more unanswered phone calls and texts and emails than I ever have in my whole entire life. And it does stress me out. Sometimes. I mean, it does.
Yeah.
Because I go back to that old mentality that's like, well, you're not working. It's like, no, but you're being a leader.
Yeah.
And so I think, the Shawn team is a group of leaders that I just get to be a small part of. But, yeah, I don't even remember what the original question was.
It was
or what I was elaborating on what you had said, I think.
I was like surrounding yourself with a great
That's correct.
group of people.
Yep. We are back, baby. Yeah.
Back streets back. All right.
Yeah. All right. So we we got kind of a little bit soft, a little bit deep there, talking about some love, leadership,
Yeah, we did.
team. All of it goes hand in hand though, right? Cool. Well, what's some of the highest highs that you can describe when it comes to momentum, and maybe the lowest lows in regards to time spans that you've just had little to nothing going on in this entrepreneurship real estate game?
I think that adrenaline is a huge part of the lows.
Part of the lows.
Well, sorry. It's part of the highs and lows. On the first part, when you have a lot going on and it's all kind of hits you at once, there's a lot of adrenaline, right?
True.
And then when that goes away, whether it's a good or a bad. So in the case I'm thinking of, I opened 7 escrows in a week, right? 7 day span.
Reese.
Dang.
But then 5 of them canceled.
Oh.
I only closed 2.
Dang, Reese.
So it went away quick, and that adrenaline was gone in the worst way possible.
Right.
Like, it's one thing if it gets to them and you close 7 escrows and the adrenaline's gone, but however much you have.
Did you blame yourself?
Of course, because of course it did, because there's one common denominator in all 7 of those escrows, right?
What is that?
Me.
Oh man, that's tough. So how did you deal with that, like processing of it?
Okay, so there was a lot that went into that whole deal, and a lot of emotion because some of them were family. So like I think that looking back and reflecting on it was really important for figuring out how to deal with stuff.
Context.
Context.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just it's hard to look and see what you did wrong
Right.
sometimes. Well, not sometimes. all the
But
time.
you did, right? And
Yeah,
you were like, well, what
absolutely.
could I have done?
What could I have done better? I ran through different situations, and though I think that kind of helped me in future deals. But you run through scenarios of like, okay, if I would have done this, then this would have gone better. If I would have prepped them and said, don't buy a car while we're selling and buying a house. And that accounted for 2 because they bought a car and they were listing a house and they had to find a place to go. So they bought a car. So that killed 2 deals.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
So like there's different things that you can prep them. Don't buy a car when you're doing this, right?
Yeah.
Like that sort of stuff that like I feel like is kind of commonplace to say, but at the time I wasn't thinking about it because
Well, I mean, you're 21 years old in real estate, and at that time you were probably 20
I was 20.
with a year experience, right?
Yes.
Still figuring it out.
A year, actually. Yeah, just different things like that. That was like, well, that was 4 or that was 2 more or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I would always, and I'm a lot better now, but still not perfect. Anytime a deal falls through,
Sucks.
it sucks, and I always feel like it's my fault.
Yeah.
And even if it isn't my fault, what I've learned to love about the process is I'm going to act like it's my fault for just enough to be able to study and analyze the deal. Mm-hmm. Because I could have had an active part in the problem, and there's still nothing I can do to change it at that very moment.
Yeah.
So the only thing that happens is you continue to do reps on these things. The pain of losing a deal or all that stuff hasn't gone away from me. The pain of having a friend or family member or whoever go and use someone else to do a deal or, you know, whatever, never goes away. But how I deal with it has. Mm-hmm. So I think the part of the reps that we don't talk about is the success and failure associated with the reps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not just the activity itself. Mm-hmm. If someone says, oh yeah, you need to put in reps on the phone, that's part of it, right? You need to know your script, how you want to talk, and even if you don't use scripts, knowing more or less who you're talking to and what the gist of the conversation should be.
Yeah.
Okay? But what they don't tell you in the reps is that there might be people that say yes to you and then in 2 days decide that they don't want to use you or they don't want to do that. When you do reps here, you also end up doing reps over here.
Yeah.
And then you do reps in all of these different areas because no circumstance or situation is exactly the same. However, you see repetitious themes and patterns, right? So reps are good not only for landing deals, it's knowing how to cope, how to properly like save and spare your energy, but then still using the negative in a way of what could I do better?
Yeah.
What could I have done better? What expectations, whatever could I have done to possibly prevent this?
Yeah.
And then move on knowing that even if I did, it maybe still couldn't have happened. Or my default, I have to believe that my portion is my portion and that deal, those deals, that person, that whatever, God's sparing me from something I might not be seeing now. Or I'm just not ready for that blessing yet.
True.
Yeah.
And that's a tough one.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I have to look through all of this and I have to trust it is not my timing, but it is God's.
True.
I have to release control, and that's hard.
Yeah. Well, and it's a catch-22, right? Well, I think you think it's a good thing, and I'm sure you both see it as a good thing, but like on the flip side of that is you get all of these reps, and yet every time you open an escrow or whatever, there's going to be something different that comes up, and you know what I mean?
Totally.
Which I think is kind of not exhilarating, but like it's kind of fun.
It's the only reason I'm still in real estate.
Yeah, because you would get bored, right?
I get bored.
Yeah.
Yep.
But anyway, back to the original question but what I was talking about was the adrenaline of like
Yes.
canceling those, and then I think that's the lowest part for me, especially when it goes away like that of like, what's next? Like I'm not busy because I like to be busy. So when I'm not busy and that adrenaline's not there, then I'm just like, dude.
And if we want to tie this into what we were talking about earlier, could we say that adrenaline could be tied into confidence?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
That could be tied
Definitely.
into how well we do our work, whatever
Yeah.
activity we need to do to perform, or like all that, and then it goes into the momentum, right? And
But
then
yeah.
it's like this wheel.
But I'd say the real superpower is when you can have confidence even if you don't have that adrenaline. Does that make sense? Like
I think if we can just all acknowledge the confidence that Reese had while he mispronounced confidence,
whatever.
there's something that we can take away from this, and that's
Anyway, the
what I like to
real
do.
superpower, whatever. But does that
Yeah.
make sense?
No, I actually
when-
want you to restate it because I was so
Okay.
distracted, and that's my fault.
The real superpower is when you can still have confidence without the adrenaline. In my
Boom.
opinion.
Boom.
Because then you don't even have to be, because there's obviously going to be dry spells and dry seasons. Like no matter how hard you work, it's just going to happen. I think it's, slower, maybe slower is the right word than dry.
Nah, dude, sometimes it's a straight up desert.
Yeah.
Ha, Svenja,
Anyway,
Deserts,
and if
baby.
you're still able to walk in that, then momentum is so easy to build up. What are you laughing at me for?
What Blake just said. I'm not laughing at
Oh.
you.
We're laughing with you, Reese.
Yeah. Looping.
I just want to make reference to is that lion's still the king, whether it rains or not, baby. Whether it's a rainforest or a desert,
true.
lion's still going to be a lion.
That's true. Do lions live in rainforests?
I don't know, but if they did,
It'd still be king.
they'd still be king, baby.
And I just can't wait to be king.
All right, here we are. I love it. No, it's good. I appreciate that, Reese. I've been there before in similar things, and I still get there.
Yeah.
The thing I think some people think is, I've been in real estate 3 years, 5 years, whatever. I've done this many deals. You are not excluded from still having to walk through pain and go through deserts.
Yeah.
And all of us, and I don't care if you're 18 years old or 81 years old, you're going to have to go through it. And if you want to get to the next level of whatever it is, you're going to have to go through it. I think I just posted something on my story. Like, all of us want to get to the other side of the mountain without having to climb it,
Yeah.
without having to struggle.
Yeah. I want to say that, because what was the question you had asked just now recently?
I had asked him about losing the deals, and
No, it was about highs and lows with momentum.
yeah.
So I wanted, because you just
Yes,
said like
that's
a
right.
lot of people think that, me for one, like, so I'll tell you about my experience. So coming into real estate, you're around all these people, top producers, and you're like, man, dude, they make it look so easily. And I think that's part of momentum, is like everything that, I don't know if you guys feel this, but everything that we do feels effortlessly.
Yeah.
But I think it's because we're so intentional with what we do, again, and mindset. But I do believe that some people get the misconception of like, oh, that's easy. And like,
Totally.
no, and it's going back to the whole reps thing. Dude, like, you probably had a lot of growth during those 7 escrows. Probably. Yeah?
Yep.
So, and that's like the whole,
True.
it's crazy that, for one, and I'm talking about myself,
Yep.
when I first started in real estate, I was like, oh, dude, that's easy. I can do it.
Totally.
And then you get in the thick of it and you're like, oh crap, I need to quit.
So true.
Yeah. But you got to embrace being uncomfortable,
Yeah.
especially in this industry.
It's good.
But yeah, I think when you have momentum, everything we do, it seems effortlessly, but we're putting in so much work and we're intentional with what we do. That's why it looks like that.
Intentional is the word.
Yeah.
And I think it's the truth. People look at me all the time and think that, man, that's just so easy.
That's what I think.
Yeah, well,
Like, anyway, yeah.
that's the truth.
When you're on the phone, like, it just sounds like, dang, Blake's got it together, man.
Man,
That's what it seems like.
guess I got everyone fooled, huh?
Dang, dude.
No, but I think it is important to recognize, and you guys hear me talk about it a lot, but this real estate thing, this entrepreneurship thing. So I want all the viewers to understand, if I'm talking about real estate, you plop in whatever entrepreneurial thing you're doing into that real estate and you can find application. So in every entrepreneurial thing, it has to become part of your lifestyle. Now, here's where people get it wrong, and I did too. Very, very wrong. I started attaching my identity to the success I had in my entrepreneurship. So now my identity was real estate. My identity was how many houses I sold. My identity was you fill in the blank. And so then what we start have happen, and I'll speak for myself, and you guys know I'm pretty honest with you guys. What ends up happening is that we have our ideal true self, who we are, who God made us to be.
Right.
And then over here, we have this version of ourselves that we think we need to be to attain the success that we think we want to have. So then you do that, and some of us are really good at being a chameleon or knowing who our audience is and fitting with whoever. But at some point, if we're not so solid in who we are outside of what we do, these two become so disconnected that we actually long for our true self again. We get burnout. We party too much. We drink too much. We do all of these things because now we may have attained success like what I did. I attained success in real estate at the expense of myself. And so where it gets really deep in this game, and what I tell people, the reason it's not a sprint and the reason I'm not going to lose is not because you're not better than me. You could very well could be more skilled than me. You can have more talent than me. You can have more energy than me. You could be willing to work longer hours than me. But what you don't have over me is my inability to quit. I won't quit.
Yeah.
So I won't fail.
Right.
You might run the first 100 yards faster. You might run the first mile faster. But I can guarantee you, at some point, you will see me.
Yep.
You will be winded, and I won't. And so when I figured that out, I had to scrap everything I thought I knew in real estate. 5 to 6 years of everything that I thought I knew. Hanging with people that did it at the top level in the area, in the state, all over the country. And I figured out that the biggest crime against all of these top team leaders and everything is that they weren't being true to themselves. And then so they were leading a bunch of people in a version of themselves that wasn't even true to them, making people believe that they had to be this certain other self to attain the success. And then we're so surprised that real estate has an 80% turnover in the first year or two. If at most 3 years, 80%. Could be more than that. I don't know. Over the next 3 years, you're probably going to see a lot of things change. And so I had to scrap everything and start over. And I had to start with myself and my relationship with God. Yeah. I went back to the basics. What is Blake like? I had to ask myself, who are you, Blake? Who are you? And that's a tough question to look in the mirror and ask when you don't know how to freaking answer it. So I had to depend on God. I don't even know who I am, Lord. But I know you do, so I'm just going to trust you. I'm going to go to work and do what I think I need to do, but please show me if it's wrong. And you just have to be patient. But in the patience, you still have to show up. Yeah. So you want the momentum. Yeah, you got to dial in your mind. Me dialing in my mind at that point was not knowing the answer. It was just knowing the question. I want to figure out who the frick I am. Lord, I need your help. God, help me. Show up.
Because if you don't do that, it's going to suck whether you succeed or you fail.
That's exactly it.
Because, yeah, there's nothing even done.
I would rather have utter failure and know exactly who I am, because when I do that, I know that I could lose everything and have it all back times 10 within 3 years. That's my mantra. I'm not scared to lose it all. In fact, it's going to give me more confidence and ability to be flexible and do what I need to do, learn what I need to learn, fail where I need to fail. But only if I have the ability to just let it go. Hey, Blake, you could lose everything this year. Are you willing to do that? If it helps me figure out who I am and moves the needle forward in my life, absolutely yes. Every time. But the two big things that don't happen is we don't ask ourselves the question, and we're not willing to not have an answer and still move forward.
Yeah.
So
That's so powerful, dude. What you just said, you're willing to lose it all.
Yep.
And I had to learn that last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we all did again.
Yeah. But when I did learn that, I was like, oh, I got this.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you guys experience that feeling, you'll know when you experience it, and it's such a cool feeling.
You become dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous, bro.
Dangerous.
I say it and I'll say it again. The only thing scarier than a person that ain't afraid to die, person that ain't afraid to lose it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess, when I say about that, like, when you're not afraid to die, you understand the value in the presence of that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So like when I'm talking to these guys in training or I'm talking to whoever, I'm talking about like what I want to do is be more present and go deeper in relationships with people. But what does that consist of? Because everyone could want that. Mm-hmm. I have to first do that with myself. And that's hard. Yeah. That is so hard, man. Reese, what were you going to say?
I was just going to add, and I was debating on whether I should say it, and I wasn't going to, but since you pointed out, I'm going to.
Yeah.
Like when we talk about losing it all,
we're
talking about material things.
That's exactly it.
We're talking about money. Like we're talking about
properties, money, assets.
Like we're not talking about family.
Correct.
We're not talking about a relationship with God. Like
correct.
I just want to establish that just in case there was any confusion between it.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's good. Yeah. When I say lose it all, lose all of the things that the world tells you is important.
Yeah. All of the flashy stuff.
All of the materialistic, temporal, shiny things.
Yep.
I don't work for that place anymore, but one thing they had right was God, family, business. God first, family second, business third. If I was to break that down any other way, it would be God on top. I am God's kid first and foremost. That's where my identity will always live. I'm God's kid.
That's the answer to that question.
Yes. Below that, I am a husband. And then below that, I am a dad. Everything and everyone else must find their place under those things. And until I figured those top three out, I could have achieved the world 10 times more than what I did, and it wouldn't have mattered because I would have had no one by my side.
So when you asked yourself that question of who are you, and where were you in your life, and how long did it take you from when you asked to when you answered the question of I'm a child of God?
It's been in stages and series. So God is like peels it off one layer at a time. I started asking those questions back in 2011, 2012 when I was coming off the streets. Like start trying to figure out who you are, all over again. But what's funny is when you overcome a big trauma or a big hardship, you're like, you start putting your feet up like, I made it. I don't struggle with that anymore. And so I thought I knew who I was. Like, oh yeah, I'm a cleaned up dude that's going to go out here and take over the world, compared to what, I was. And then the next phase you get to is, I'm finding success in real estate. So I must be a realtor. I must be a businessman. I must be a entrepreneur. And it's true. I was. However, at that point, I thought that my identity was that thing or those things, which is fine until it isn't, right? So I asked it at that point when I had achieved success in real estate, bought a house, done all, bought a car, bought a house, which is a long way from being on the streets, So I was like, made it. And then not knowing I was living for myself and I didn't know who I was, I just figured out who I needed to be to find success in that arena. And that was hard. It's like, frick, dude. Because that is a skill.
Yeah.
That is a skill to be able to do. However, it's also a curse because you can easily become detached and just distracted from your true self. And then so now you're battling your mind more than anyone or anything. You are battling yourself constantly, and it's at a subconscious level, and it steals your capacity and your joy. So asked it again, probably is 2012, then again in 2015. 2018, 2019, my wife and I were dead broke in Paso Robles. So full circle.
Yeah.
We had left here in Tulare, got married here in Tulare, and then I was team leader at Keller Williams in Paso. And I went from, commission-based, everyone knew who I was here in Tulare area, doing well for myself, working for top team in California, to now it's my wife and I'm on a salary with a company. I'm not able to really do a ton of sales and all that, so my income's actually down. And now I'm in a different place with my wife, just me and her, so we're figuring out all about each other at that point, let me tell you. And that was part of the blessing in getting to move away for a little bit, was just figure out who I was and who my wife was and who we were together now as a unit. So I asked myself around that point, 2018, 2019, and it's funny, it's like every 3 years, but then 2022, this last year, I had to look myself in the mirror. Now I own a brokerage. We have 20 some odd agents, I think, brokerage team, and monetarily I lost and more than I ever had in my whole entire life. And so it's like, I was like, man, I was there looking in the mirror again, like, dude, patterns, bro. Like, what's going on? It's like, and then God was he's so kind, right? Yeah. When we hear harsh thoughts in our head, it's important that we know that's not of God. God doesn't talk to us like that. We talk to ourselves like that.
Yeah.
The disappointment, the shame, the guilt, all these things, those things talk to us like that, not God. And when I realized he was so kind and so patient with me, he said, son, like, until you're with me forever, you will constantly be looking in the mirror and asking that question, and I will continuously show you. And then it got exciting, because then I'm like, man, like, I really love who I am right now. Like, more than I ever have in all my other previous selves. I love Blake right now. But it's like, God's so good and this life is so precious that, like, I can look in the mirror at 81 if the Lord blessed me with that much time, and I could still be figuring out a new layer of who I am, a new layer and a new depth of who God is, of who, all of this stuff. That brings me just as much passion and purpose to waking up every morning as selling 100 houses, as having 100 million in my bank account, as having a portfolio of over 1,000 houses. And I believe I'm going to have every single one of those things I just listed, but nothing sparks my joy and my curiosity for life more than being able to ask that question freely and have a God that loves us enough to be willing to show it to us.
Yeah.
Nothing. And, you take the pressure off yourself. I don't need to sell 100 houses, but if I do, frick yeah. And I think I had a conversation with one of the other guys on the team, or maybe it was you guys, but it was this idea, this thought, that why can't we have both? Why can't I ask myself who I am and figuring that out, and then still mess around and have $100 million in a bank account, a portfolio of 1,000 plus houses. Why can't I do both? Yeah. So now it's not because I treated everything as like an or, like it's either this or it's that. And now why can't you have both?
Yeah.
Why can't you go have a great time with your wife and your kids at home and have a kick-ass day at work and go and sell a bunch of properties and do a bunch of stuff? I can do it all. Seasons are going to ebb and flow out of what is required of me. But in general, I'm just going to agree, yeah, it's a both and for me. I'm going to have both of it, and I'm willing to figure it out and struggle and have the grace of the Lord on me while I figure it out.
That's awesome, dude.
So that's, I think that was the gist of it. Roughly, if I was to put a timeline, it's every few years. I do a major growth or leap, I feel like. But at the end of the day, a lot of that's driven by experience, failure, trauma, disappointment, negatives. It's not triggered by the wins, dude. It's triggered by the losses. Yet all of us are so bent up and in knots because we want to avoid that.
Can you share? You shared something this morning. I was like, dang, that was cool. It was the slingshot reference. Can you share that? Hey, Blake, can you share this slingshot reference you shared this morning during training?
Yep. So, great training.
Yeah.
This morning, by the way, I had a great time with you guys and the whole team. But slingshot reference is the idea that something must be pulled back in order to move forward.
Right.
And so what I found is every few years when I'm in these growth modes of like, oh, who the heck are you, Blake? You thought you knew, no, you didn't. Haha. It's like I started studying it, and I felt like the Lord gave me this like image of a slingshot. And then the question was, how far can the rock be slung if it's not willing to be pulled back?
Yeah.
And so that's what triggered it. And it's like, if you pull a slingshot back a little bit, it's going to go forward a little bit. But when you pull it back a little bit more, for one, the strings that are holding it begin to tighten, right? It gets tight. Like this is, if I was to correlate this to ourselves, this is when the anxiety kicks in. This is when the question's like, am I doing the right thing? Do I keep going? And if you so choose to keep getting pushed back, so I can see in my entrepreneurship, I was willing to do this and then I let it go. And then I get to this other side and I lose it and then I have to recalibrate, right? Yeah. What if the slingshot's the mirror? And that's what you're talking to, you know? But the more you're willing to go back and go deep, gain context on things. Like, yeah, I'm willing to get stretched. I'm willing to have anxiety. I'm willing to do whatever because I know when it gets tight, when it gets heavy, when I'm getting pushed back, oh, I'm about to come out. Yeah. Like, God's about to do something really, really big, bigger than what he's ever done. Yeah. I walk in that. I believe it. And he does it. Yeah. Every time. So, yeah. 2022 was the furthest back the slingshots went, and I thought it was going to snap the things off, but it didn't. Yeah. What about you, Reese? What you got, man?
This is what I thought of when you shared that.
Yep.
It's James 1, verses 3 and 4. For you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing.
Amen.
That's awesome, man.
I felt like that related a lot, like, and later in the chapter he talks about trials and temptations and things that we go through, and he circles back again to being whole and complete, and that's what I thought.
And what was the last line in that?
He says, I'll just read the whole verse 4. So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. Love the word of God. It's good stuff. It's the only truth we got nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yeah, thank you for bringing up that slingshot thing. It's funny. God gives me a lot of like random little visions and stuff in the shower, and that was it. And I love King David too. So David and Goliath, it's like, man, you want to go after the giants, you better be willing to be slung around a little bit before. Yeah. You know, like, and you better be willing to take the taunts.
Well, it's getting you ready for the development, the growth that you're about to get, achieve. So,
totally, man. I think all of us have Goliaths that taunt us in our entrepreneurship. Oh, you're too young. Oh, you should have went to college. Oh, why don't you just go have a 9-to-5? Why can't you be normal?
Yeah.
Why can't you be safe? Why can't you? Well, I don't know if you should post that. I don't know if you should do that. Well, your Aunt Sally did that and had a hard time with it. We don't sign up to do what we do or we're doing right now thinking that we're going to have some of the heaviest opposition from people that we actually love the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that true?
That's very true.
And it's not a knock on them. Yeah. Freaking love them to death. And they love me so much. They think they know what's best too. Yeah. And so if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be willing to be misunderstood by almost everyone, including your closest loved ones. Are you willing to do that? Are you willing to fail, not have anything for months, be misunderstood, and keep going? And if the answer is yes, then sign up.
Yeah.
And then be ready for everyone to call you again when you reach the point
where they actually trust you and see that maybe you had something.
Well, when I've heard so many stories from different people of like family members who were just like didn't want anything to do with them while they were in their come up.
Yeah.
They were on the come up, right?
Right.
And then when they hit that spot where they're successful, then everyone starts calling them for stuff.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's the truth. And the heaviest part is having to walk around and carry that. Mm-hmm. Carry people's doubts and fears and misunderstandings. And I did that. And God was like, dude, you're going to have to let that go. You can't carry your weights plus everyone else's weights about you on you. Yeah. It'll kill you. Mm-hmm. And so it's such an important lesson, and one that I still find myself coming back to as I continue to toe and push the line, right? Because at some point you got people applauding for you that are farther, that don't even know you. Mm-hmm. And you got people up close to you that got things to say.
Yeah.
And that's confusing. That's confusing when you have bigger fans sometimes. You know, and I got big fans, my family and everyone. I'm not saying knocking it, but I would be like not telling the full truth if I didn't say that your loved ones aren't going to be a little confused or have some misunderstandings about what you're doing. Yeah.
Well, and sometimes yourself will be confused.
Totally.
Misunderstanding, so you can, you know.
You absolutely will.
Yeah.
And I think that's some of the realest things you can do. And people ask, what are you doing? And they're like, oh, you know, you say, doing great, this, that. And then they give you that look like, You're like, yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out myself.
It's hard when people ask that question. Because it's such a loaded question when they ask you, oh, how's real estate?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't answer that truthfully in a quick conversation.
No.
You know, like, if I say, oh, it's going good, which is good, true. You know, it's going well. Yeah. I'm enjoying it. But it's not that simple, you know? Like, that's such a fun. I love it. Well, it's just interesting.
When I realized that I didn't have to over explain myself to give a response back and if everyone be happy, I started saving a lot of oxygen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can just reply, oh, it's good, man. How's everything going your way?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't need to explain myself anymore. I didn't, because I always felt the need to explain myself. And we talked about this. Mm-hmm. Man, I don't want people on this team wasting as much air as I wasted. Trying to fit in with people or groups or things that don't really give much of a crap and not nearly as much of a crap as you think they do. Don't do that to yourself. Don't let that steal your freaking capacity. Don't let that steal your joy. Yeah. Just do it. Yeah. And then own the failure.
Yeah.
The reason that I was having to explain myself so much is because I had to explain my failure to myself. And if I had a hard time with that, how am I going to explain it to someone else? I had to take ownership. Yeah, the last 6 months was tough. Mm-hmm. I lost dang near every materialistic thing that I had. Mm-hmm. And I won't stop. I don't have to explain myself if that's my answer.
Yeah.
And that's just to myself. I could say whatever answer I want to someone. If I know that in my heart, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. I don't need to tell you anything. Mm-hmm. If I do, it's because I care about you and I want you to know.
Yeah.
If I don't, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means I don't have the oxygen to waste right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do it on them. Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. We are here for a fun segment that we're going to do every week, right?
Every week. Yeah.
Every week. And is it, let's, wrap. Do we have a name for the segment?
Let's make him a name. I don't think we have a name.
Yeah. How about Rap Royale?
I like that. Rap Royale.
Yeah.
Did I say that right?
And it's not like we're actually going to be rapping, but we are going to do rap lyrics.
Yes.
And then we'll always ask our future guests, like, what are a couple rap lyrics that you would want to share?
Yeah.
Or, it doesn't have to be rap.
Any type of lyrics.
Here, lyrics, Lyrical Royale.
There you go. I like that.
That was very lyrical.
Lyrical Royale. I actually feel richer by saying that. Lyrical Royale. I don't know. Just hits different, man. Hits different with that tongue movement. Lyrical.
So Reese is looking for his lyrics. Do you want to start with yours?
So I got a few of them, and I think I told you guys I'm gonna go on like what songs hitting that week, and then go on into that song. So I've been on a little bit of a Mac Miller kick. R.I.P.
Okay.
So it's called Frick Park Market.
Okay.
And it's cool. I say the word frick quite a bit.
Yeah.
People judge me for it, I'm sure. But I just got done saying how, I don't have the air to explain that frick is a way better word than some of the other ones we use,
Yeah.
All right, but here we go. Like I said, I got a few of them, but the first one is trying to get a mansion. Ain't nobody here gonna find my room.
I like that a lot.
That was deep.
Also tells me, though, if we do go into your mansion, there's a possibility that we might all get lost. Because it's big.
It would be fun to have, like, a mansion that's like a maze, where, like, you give people maps.
Winchester?
Oh, is that a real thing already?
Kind of, right? Like, yeah.
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 It's the one with like the recursive rooms and stuff.
Yeah, like it randomly built off and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that would be fun if you just had that, money to spend for no reason.
Yeah.
Second lyric from that song. There's some good ones in here that have cuss words that I'm just going to swerve because they would be freaking funny. But all city champion, everybody else second string. So I don't know why I like that one, but maybe I do. Thoughts?
Well, it fits because do you want to say your first line, the very first line you said? It fits because of that line.
It fits because last name ever, first name greatest.
I just
Nice.
Boy like a sprained ankle, I ain't nothing to play with. All right.
Those were great ones.
Yeah.
Reese?
I don't even know.
Do you not
I
even-
can't even find one that is worthy of me saying because the one I had planned was so good. And
I
then
actually
Blake
have one
took it
for you,
from me.
Reese. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give this one to you because I feel like it's for you. And at some point, I'll let you give me one.
Okay.
Okay, I want you to read. Where it says 100 different. 100 different.
That's a good one. Says, and I quote, 100 different shoes to fill. No need to cop a fresher pair.
Frick, dude. Lewis, why do you think
Nice.
that's important to Reese?
I need to think on that.
I think Lewis was about to go deep on something. I just
Yeah.
thought it was Reese because Reese loves shoes.
So I was
I
going to say
do
the shoes
love
one, but I
shoes.
was trying to think of something deep.
Yeah,
Okay,
no, I can appreciate
I got
that.
one.
Though. Yeah.
And this is actually from the same song that song was
Oh,
in.
got it. The Drake one.
It's the same. It's Drake's verse, and it's his very last line. You know what he says?
No.
He says, "Everybody got a deal. I did it without one."
Oh, dude.
Oh,
I do remember.
frick, dude.
Nice.
Dang,
Glad I got
bro.
that one off my chest.
Whew, man. Good thing people can't feel the atmosphere in this room right now. It's freaking heavy,
I got a
dude.
little heavy.
Woo!
Whew, my goodness.
Yikes, man. good though. Good yikes.
Yeah.
It's good
pretty
stuff,
good one.
dude. Freaking A. Lewis, what do we got, dude?
So
Got Lulu. That Caballero Lou.
I don't know the song. Maybe you guys can help me with the song, the lyric I'm about to say.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna let the viewers define the lyric,
Yep.
but it goes something like this: Wah wah wah, I'm a baby.
Say
Oh.
two things.
Oh, frick that hit.
Number one, it's from a song called Yes Indeed.
Okay.
Number two, it's I'm Lil Baby.
Thank you for the correction, Reese.
Yeah.
Reese, go ahead and say it then.
Wah, wah, wah. I'm Lil Baby.
Oh, dang. That sounded better.
Frick, dude. Whoa. I don't know about you guys, but this segment's gnarly.
Dude.
Frickin' A. Lost in the sauce, dude.
Oh, hold on. Can I share this quote?
All right.
And it's not this
this is the conclusion.
This is the conclusion.
So it's got to be a good one. All right, here we go.
So I don't think this is a rap song, but it's a solid quote, and I try to live by it every day. It goes like this: without the sauce, you're lost. But you could also get lost in the sauce.
Powerful.
You gonna quote that with yourself, Reese Sapien, or?
Yes, Reese. I said that. I'm just gonna take credit for it. I heard it my freshman year of high school, and
That's true. And I think
basically
we'll let viewers decide what that means. Let's just say it one more time, just a little more slow.
sit up a little bit straighter.
Yeah. Oh, wow, not necessary. That wasn't necessary. I love it, though.
Without the sauce, you're lost. But you could also get lost in the sauce. Reese Sapien.
Man, dude. Well, I'm just glad our viewers doesn't have to go through like the weight of what you just said in the atmosphere in here. But it's important for people to know.
Yeah.
And we might be able to do some shirts or posters or something for maybe a giveaway or something about that. It'd be
Yeah, we'll
fun.
do a merch line.
That'd be great.
Yeah, okay. We'll talk to our people.
All right. Cool.
Cool.
Right on. Well, let's send them out. Do we want to tell anyone what we got going next week? What we're going to be talking about?
Appetizers.
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Ooh, appetizers.
I like that a lot.
This is going to get deep.
Yeah.
People
It
don't
is.
even know.
Yeah.
People don't even know. I love it. All right, when we're talking about appetizers next week here at the Not So Real Estate Podcast. My name is Blake.
I'm Lupe.
And I'm Lulu.
And we'll see you next time, baby. Yeah, good job, boys and girls. Let's go. Yes. Yeah.
That was a solid one.